This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City look to stay in the playoff race with 3 points against DC United. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
There we are. Hey, Matty.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How's your Amtrak ride? I had one yesterday. You had one today, and
it was okay.
I love the train. By the way, I love coming in on the train. It's just I had a table. I could put my computers out. I could sleep if I wanted to.
I was delayed by 40 minutes. We stopped everywhere. Yes, I should have flown. That is what I should have done. I should have flown, Dad.
You're just spoiled. You know, the team came down on the train, which is interesting, too, and they seem to enjoy it. You know, it's a different mode of transportation. You don't have to deal with the airport, which, you know, sometimes is a bit of a pain.
Yeah, it's something different for the players as well. As you say, they fly in and out of pretty much every single game. So apart from the home games, obviously, every away game. So, yeah, I think something different for them. But they also came down on the Acela, the fast train, didn't they, rather than the Amtrak?
I don't really know, but perhaps
that's what I've been informed.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, the Acela is nice. The bullet train. Hey, look, the field looks good, and you know we've been sitting here getting outside a little bit too. You probably can't tell, but if they put the water on, we'll make sure that we put this isolated shot of Audi Field. New York City will be warming up to the right side of the pitch, but if the water's on, you can really see how much the wind is whipping, and it's gusting. And the very interesting thing, Matty, is if the one corner flag gets blown one way and the other corner flag gets blown the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Look,
that's a swirling wind, apparently.
This is even though it looks reasonably enclosed, it's very open. I know that sounds slightly contradictory, but it is. Wherever you're walking, and that includes the corridors behind us, which are sort of open, there's wind whipping around the whole stadium. So, yes, there's no sort of right to left wind or even coming across the pitch wind. It is swirling down there. And as you say, when we were watching the pitch being watered, there's obviously sprinkler heads that pop up and down all over this ground, or all over the pitch, rather. They were all going, the wind was blowing the water in many, many different directions.
It's pretty interesting looking.
I think I've always said to you, Glenn, it's the only condition that I don't really like, weather condition that I don't really like playing in. Granted, I don't like playing 150 degrees, but I know that rarely happened in England. I didn't mind snow, I didn't mind rain, I didn't mind hail, but wind is the one that has the effect on the ball and makes it the most difficult to play with and get used to, that's for sure. Yeah. It spoils the game the most, I would say.
Hey, by the way, is this the John Marlin I know? If it is, he says, yes, the train is nice. So John agrees with me. Thank you, John. And, well, look, let's get to the game here. It's the penultimate match for New York City FC, second to last in the MLS regular season of their matches. They're probably in a position where they need to win both. There are mathematical situations where they could lose tonight and win at Citi Field against Chicago and still advance. But you have to look at the facts. If they win both, that is, New York City wins at DC United tonight, and then at home Citi Field against Chicago after the international break, they still will need a little help in order to get into the postseason. And, Matty, there's also a scenario where if New York City were to lose tonight and both CF Montreal and Charlotte won, New York City would be eliminated from the playoffs. And the real odd thing is that this is the last game for DC United. They don't have a match on decision day. There's 29 teams in MLS. One team had to sit out the final day of the regular season. So DC United, they're playing their final game. If they lose, they will be out of the playoffs for a fourth consecutive year, and then you have to wonder if Wayne Rooney's coming back. So I gave you a lot to deal with there.
Yeah, you did. Look, I think even if they draw, DC United aren't going to make it. I know that mathematically they can, but the only way that DC United remain with any ability to make the playoffs, in my opinion, is they have to win the game. And I also think the only way that NYCFC stand any chance of making the playoffs is if they win the game today. I truly do.
Well, DC United, if they tie or lose, they're out.
They are definitely.
That's what MLS put out there. So I'm just going by what the press release said.
Then they better win them.
Huh?
Then they better win.
Well, they better
United
win.
From their point of view, yeah. And I do tend to think that this will be Wayne Rooney's last game as well. I think whether he be homebound, be in the UK or England more specifically, whether that he be Saudi bound, I think that we'll have seen the last of him in MLS, to be perfectly honest.
Let's get to the lineups. And New York City, if you're watching this, you could see on the lower third of your screen the no changes from the previous match. It is. It's 6 games unbeaten, 3 draws, 3 wins. A couple of those draws agonizing, and we'll get into the most recent one, the 1-1 tie at Miami last Saturday. But, Matty, only 2 goals conceded in those 6 matches. One was the corner kick goal last week, and then the other was a penalty against Vancouver. So Matt Freese has been in the goal for all those. He has 4 clean sheets in 8 games. Luis Barraza, 4 clean sheets in the number of games that he's played, 24. Yeah. So it's Freese the rest of the way, and it's interesting how he has taken over the job.
Yeah, I don't think that statistic treats Luis Barraza fairly.
Okay.
Because I do think that the side has come together more now rather than previously when Luis Barraza was in goal. And I don't think that's solely down to him and the defence not having belief in him. I think Freese has come in at a good time when the team is performing well. And as Nick Cushion has told us, the side is more balanced because finally they have what we've always known they need, a centre forward and a left-footed, left-sided centre half. So I think Freese has not been lucky, but he's certainly made it easier for him to keep clean sheets because he's in a much better team. So I don't think it's automatically Matt Freese forcing his way into the team. I think a little bit of it has been Luis Barraza committing some high-profile errors. And also I feel sorry for Luis Barraza being in front of a bad team, or being behind, rather, a bad team for large swathes of the season.
Well, Burke Reese, you mentioned, he'll be making his 9th consecutive start. How about Kevin O'Toole? Let's talk about Kevin O'Toole for a second. Kevin O'Toole, because we are going to get to the 1-1 draw at Inter Miami, just to go over the goals scored and the goal conceded. But Kevin O'Toole, he's going to be making his 4th consecutive start. And you remember last year, he ended up beating out Malde Amundsen and starting the last 3 regular season games. And his first start actually was in the Campeones Cup championship, and he was part of the team that won the trophy. You know, he was on the field for the full match. So now we see that he's overtaken Brian Coufret, and he has now, in the latter stages of this season, taken over again. He's a starter again at left back. So he was asked about that a little bit at the presser this week. Here,
I think last year kind of prepared me for that, honestly. We were in some important games last year. My first game was a final, and so that was obviously kind of a must-win game from our perspective. And the last few games this season, we didn't have our playoff spot cemented. So they were all really important games to take points on the road in Atlanta and points at home against Orlando in a comeback win. So the stakes are a little bit different this year, sure, but last year was also really important to get those points at the end of the year. So I guess personally, nothing really changes. I think played in some big games down the stretch last year that I think it prepared me for this year.
So that's Kevin O'Toole, who out of Princeton University, the collegiate draft choice in the MLS draft. This is his 2nd season. He was the Ivy League Offensive Player of the Year when he was a junior. We've seen some of those attacking things that he showed on the collegiate level to win that award. But the fact he's gone from, remember, wing back in a 5-back or 3-back system really wasn't, I don't think, trusted completely in a 4-back playing fullback, but here he is now. So I think that points to his development a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's another player similar to Andres Jason who's really started to believe in himself. I think it's difficult in whichever walk of life you're in to try something new, as in you've gone to a much bigger stage. You've gone from Princeton University to professional football. I know Princeton University like to think of it as close to professional football as you can get, but it's still a big step away. I did the same as Kevin O'Toole, went from university to professional football, and it's a massive step up. It took me, Glenn, anywhere between 6 months and a year to really have the belief that I deserve to be there. However much arrogance you've got because you've made it this far, you have to have that certain amount of self-belief and arrogance. You have to then redefine it as a professional. I think the confidence that you see in him now is worthy because he's playing very, very well. I think he needs to add productivity to his game. I think his one-on-one defender needs to be better. But this is his, for me, first true season here with belief in himself and the coach's belief in him as well. I think it's testament for him and his growth as a person and as an athlete.
So we're talking about Kevin O'Toole. You mentioned Andres Jason in there. Like O'Toole making his fourth consecutive start also for New York City. So the two young guys have worked their way in, and they've become an important part of this. And why change? We should mention DC United. This is almost the lead story because they're in desperate situation, vital for New York City FC. And the one player that New York City talked about pretty consistently that they feared the most, they didn't use the word fear, but the concern, how do we defend him? He's such a big presence. Christian Benteke, 14 goals, leading goal scorer for DC United and 4 assists. He is unavailable tonight. He's a late scratch due to an illness. So Eric Hurtado, who has not scored an MLS goal this year, he's only played in 6 games. His last start was in a U.S. Open Cup match. His last MLS start was last October when he was with another team, Columbus. So this switch from Benteke to Hurtado, I mean, on the surface, Matty, it's a massive advantage for New York City. You don't like to see, I think we all, we could say, we got a better chance without him out there, but it's always better when everybody's available and they just play. But this is something New York City has to take advantage of. That's a massive drop off, and losing 14 goals.
Yeah, look, the same as last week. We wanted to watch Lionel Messi play. Yeah. We knew that without Messi, NYCFC had a much better chance of winning, and likewise today. And I think to mention Eric Hurtado, even in the same breath as Christian Benteke, is a little disrespectful to Christian Benteke, to be honest, because it is night and day. It's not even the same. And I'm not saying that Eric Hurtado can't go out there and score a goal in MLS. Sure. I'm just saying that Christian Benteke on his day was unplayable in the Champions League, was unplayable in the Premier League, was unplayable when he was playing for the Belgian national team. If he truly wanted it and if he was truly at his peak. Look, he was inconsistent over his career. Christian Benteke is why he wasn't always at Liverpool, which is why sometimes was at an Aston Villa or teams worse than that. But look, Eric Hurtado struggles to even get minutes in MLS, let alone score goals in MLS. So yeah, this is a massive bonus for NYCFC, the football team. Maybe not NYCFC broadcasters, because we'd love to watch Benteke.
And he's so dominant in the air, Matty. And you as a center back, he won 6, and now they lost to Austin in their last match. They played a midweek match also. So there's no way they're in as good physical shape as New York City should be tonight. But he won 6 of 7 aerial duels. He got 5 shots. 3 of them were on frame. So that, which is part of the reason he's a great goal scorer, is because of what he can do as far as getting it on goal. So, massive miss. All right, look, let's go back to New York City's 1-1 draw against Inter Miami. And I think, first of all, let's praise New York City for how they played over the first half, plus maybe 20 or 30 minutes into the second half, where they were on the front foot, pressing high on the road against Miami in those humid conditions, winning the ball in good areas. But they just simply could not finish. We talked about the striker, Monsef Bakrar. He had 3 very good chances, one in particular with Andres Pereira laying the ball across the top of the 6. Bakrar could not connect. But eventually in the 77th minute, and this is how you heard it on the New York City FC Network.
Santi Rodriguez angles to his right. He's in the penalty area. Can he get the shot off? He can, and he can score! The striker, Santi Rodriguez, finishes and beats Calendar at the front post. He hit it high, he hit it firm, it was an acute angle, and New York City, inside a quarter of an hour remaining, they take the 1-0 lead on Inter Miami.
Well, he's been absolutely magnificent, has Santi Rodriguez, working incredibly hard off the ball. He's been the one true attacking player who's been willing to attack the defence. And here, it's terrific. It's 3 against 1. Calendar looks bemused and perplexed, and rightly so. You should not be able to score from here. But give Santi Rodriguez the credit for attacking the players, for shooting on target. I always say it, force the goalkeeper to make a mistake.
Yeah, and he did force the goalkeeper to make a mistake by drilling it at that near post side. So that puts New York City up 1-0, and you can see the exhilaration, both players surrounding him and also along the touchline, the staff. And so it was just a really good feel moment. Let's get Audi Field back up here. To the right, you can see New York City warming up, and that's DC United right beneath us. They're doing their calisthenics and some of their pregame routines in New York City on the far right here at Audi Field. So we do need to bring up the goal that was scored in the 5th minute of stoppage time, and that was Tomas Avalos off a corner kick. And New York City, which had struggled on corner balls during the course of the year earlier, Matty, it seemed like they've really had shored it up. So while I don't have the video clip of the goal, I did want to just show, and I took a screenshot of Avalos' number 6. He's just about prepared to head the ball. He's timed his leap, and that's Richie Ledesma, who's not looking at the ball, has not challenged Avalos in the air. Avalos is 6'1". Ledesma is listed at 5'9". He's probably 5'6" or 7. Thiago Martins, he's with the yellow captain's armband on his left arm. And then Burke Risa, number 5, is in the foreground here. And those guys are the best in the air. In fact, Parks is good in the air. Andres Pereira way back. Those 4 players are the best players in the air, probably in a defensive manner for New York City at that moment. And Ledesma is there. So we went through it on the commentary, Matty, and I did ask Nick Cushing directly about conceding this goal, and he lamented, a lot of different things. And as Nick generally will not do, he's not going to pin it on one particular player. So I really didn't get, any sort of response as to Ledesma's positioning there. But it's unfortunate. And as we said on the commentary, you want to at least do something to alter the header if you can.
Look, if you're facing the ball, what you can do is you can jump as the ball is arriving, even if you're not tall enough to win the header. What you can do, and what I was always taught when I first started playing football professionally as a fullback, I'm only 6'1". Sometimes the striker will be 6'3", 6'4", peel off onto you at the back post and be behind you, and he's there. And what they would always say, any defensive coach or any coach, would be jump backwards into him and throw your head backwards. And what you're going to do is you're going to make contact with their chin, you're going to make contact with their nose, you're going to definitely put them off, even if you're making contact with their chest, because they jump that much higher than you. You're going to be making contact with you, and you're going to put them off. But you can't make that jump if you're not even facing the ball and you don't know when the ball's coming. Richie Ledesma, there's nothing he could do. He was getting in a grappling match with somebody who is 5 foot inches taller than him, outweighs him by 30, 40 pounds, and you don't even know whether the ball's coming or not.
Yeah.
It's impossible to defend like that. And especially when you're somebody that small. If he was 6'4", Ledesma, maybe he can face the Avalos, because Avalos can't see over the top of him. But Richie Ledesma's 5'7". Yeah. So Avalos is just looking over him. Thomas Avalos, he did jump a little bit, but he didn't really need to. I don't like Richie Ledesma getting caught up one-on-one with a player like that. Other players should have been attacking the ball. But it's rank bad defending if you can't see the ball. You see him, he's being held down. He's trying to grapple with Avalos. Avalos is holding him down as well. He's just going to rise, nod the ball into an empty net. It's rank bad defending. I know Nick doesn't want to say that. And I understand he's not going to throw his players under the bus at this stage of the season when he might need everybody. But I'm not the head coach, so it's very, very easy for me to say that's dreadful defending from one person. Even on the night, there's no way I would blame just Richie Ledesma because the ball was smashed up the other end of the field by Matt Freese and given away. So that's definitely two people are culpable. And then really, Thiago Martins or Pereira or Keaton Parks has got to be attacking the ball as well. If you look at that photo again, there's way more NYCFC shirts in the picture than there are Inter Miami shirts. So somebody there are 2, 4, 5 NYCFC shirts and really only 3 Inter Miami shirts. I know we just see the edge, 3.5 people, 5 shirts. Most of them are just caught ball watching. Gray's caught grappling with Joseph Martinez, but Reese is doing nothing. Who's attacking? This is the last minute of the game.
Yeah.
Send somebody to attack the ball.
And what happens is this is the third time this season at Atlanta, at Columbus, that New York City has conceded a goal in stoppage time, and it resulted in a tie, in a draw. So you can look at that straight up and say that's 6 points lost. Anyway, Nick Cushing addressed that.
Of course, we know that we've dropped points at Atlanta, at Columbus, and now in this game. And, I think for us, I think in the short term, it's about trying to find that quick fix. It's trying to make sure that we can try and manage the game better, try not to give away the set play in the last moments, try and, there's a good moment in the game where we probably should try and keep the ball in their half and not try and go to the goal. And those small fixes will give us the best opportunity to win in those moments. I think the reality is this team is going to learn from those moments. This team is going to improve for going through those situations. It's a young team, and we can only learn and become a better team for experience. They're difficult in the short term, but with a young team, you have to go through those moments to improve and to learn from them.
So Nick Cushing going through some of the difficulties of giving up these late goals. It's been consistent, but you can go back to the first half when the game probably should have been done and dusted, Matty, by scoring even one goal, but maybe at least 2. And
that's why you can't pin everything on Richie Ledesma as well, or Matt Freese, because if Bakra's done his job as well, it's 2-3-0 at half time. And again, we said that in commentary as well.
Yeah.
It feels way worse when it's 1-0 and you can see the goal, but it should have been 2-1, 3-1, if not 4-1 when that ball hit the back of the net from Aviles. And probably if it was 2 or 3, he wouldn't bother going up anyway, because it's the last minute or 2 left of the game. The game's done.
I want to show you something before we break. 2 things before we get ready. We've got 7:15 Eastern is airtime for the pregame show with our live commentary of this one tonight, DC United against New York City. We know FC Cincinnati has won the Supporters Shield, and part of the reason is a guy named Matt Miazga, the center back. You'll love this, Matty, if you haven't seen it. This Laurel Fowler, who covers FC Cincinnati, this is a Matt Miazga shot in training that gets impaled on the fence. As she put it, he shanked it. And then it blew a hole in the ball. I have never seen that before. But I guess proving why he is a center back and not a striker. And I thought that was pretty funny. Then we've got this, Matt. I wanted to show you this. So Jeff Reuter of The Athletic wrote an article recently. He took a survey of Athletic readers, of which many were New York City FC supporters. And one of the questions he asked was, do you switch from the TV Apple commentators to your local radio feed when you're watching the game? And you'll see New York City FC 7th out of 29 teams, with nearly 25% of our supporters who, when they've got the Apple TV on, they use the app to drop down and listen to you and me, man. So thanks to Jeff Reuter for publicizing that, number one, and also cheers to the supporters for and let's keep pushing it up. Let's keep
pushing it up. Exactly. 7th, we're only just scraping into the playoffs. We need to be up there gaining home field advantage.
Well, that used to be a playoff position years ago. Now it's the top 9, so we're easily in the postseason, finishing 7th there. And now you have to, because we're on the road, you have to sink the video and the audio.
I love the instructions as well.
Look at the little TV and the radio.
But that's designed for me.
That.
I would understand that. There's nothing technical in there. I like that.
Yeah. So it's just wait for the kickoff on the TV and then pause it and then bring the radio in, and then more and more people are doing it. I'm hearing from folks, and if you're going to do that tonight, tweet me at Glenn Crooks so we can give you a shout out. Let me know where you're listening from. We have supporters below and to the left of us. We can't really see them, but that's where the New York City supporters are. They're right beneath us to the left, so hopefully we'll get a chance to get a wave or something going over here and see how many show up at Audi Field. They're expecting around 15,000 total. It was a beautiful day after a rainy start, so weather will not be an indicator as to people not walking in to see this match. But for us, we're going to get on the air in about 4 minutes on the New York City FC network, nycfc.com/radio. It's also on the NYCFC app and also on the TuneIn app. So for Matty Lawrence, I'm Glenn Crooks. Looking forward to this one. New York City on the road against DC United. Pretty much a must-win. Definitely for DC United, and I would say definitely for New York City. So enjoy the game, everybody.